Let's call to order the regular meeting for January 7th, 2020 of the Harrison County Board of Education. At this point in time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Gary Hamrick.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very nice, thank you. All right. Our first item on the agenda this evening is a special recognition. The superintendent and the board would like to recognize Adele Thrush, a student from Robert C. Byrd High School, for receiving the WVSSAC Academic Achievement Award. Would you please come forward?
Adele, you stay right there. No, you're good. Come here, come here. During the Super 6 up in Wheeling, we were very fortunate to have a great 2 days. As Friday evening, Bridgeport High School was crowned the AA state champion. But even more importantly, Saturday morning, there was a banquet held by the Secondary Schools Activity Commission and recognized outstanding students from around the state. And Harrison County did an incredible job. And one of those individuals who was recognized at a state level for her academic achievement and doing outstanding work was Adele Thrush. So, and I happened to be there, and as I stood there, almost invariably, it was Harrison County, Robert C. Byrd, Bridgeport, Liberty, Lincoln, and I was just so impressed. The night before we won the athletic competition, the next day we won the academic competition. And I think there's nothing better that reflects more positively on our school system than the job we're doing. So with that said, Adele, the Certificate of Achievement from the Harrison County Board of Education honors Adele Thrush in recognition of your selection as the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission Academic Achievement Award, presented the 7th day of 2020 by the Harrison County Board of Education and its superintendent. So it's with a great deal of pleasure that we recognize your outstanding academic achievement and wish you nothing but the best of luck in the future. Thank you. Who's that woman there?
My mother.
Yes, that is.
And my father.
Yes, that is.
My 2 sisters and my priest.
All right, come up here. We're going to get a picture. Come on, Doc. Come on up here. We'll get right up here. You want to say? Go ahead. Now remember her. She was supposed to bring me something one time, right? What? She was supposed to bring me something. And I remember you spoke before the board. Wow. You have any more kids? All right. Well, let's get here. Come on. Adele says she wants to give a speech. Would you like to? They're waiting.
Oh.
Come on, 5 minutes.
Thank you for this honor.
Okay. Next, we have a delegation. Mr. Jared McCrae. All right, Mr. McCrae. I do need to read that. No, it's not on this one. It's down here. Oh. Speakers before the Harrison County Board of Education are asked to express themselves in a civil manner at all time with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by the content of your comments. This is a notice that that a meeting of this school board are audio taped and most regular meetings are videotaped to be televised later on Time Warner Public Access Channel 18. While it is not the intent of Harrison County Board of Education to ever stifle public input into our deliberations, all speakers should be aware that if your public comments made here today violate the rights of any other person, especially under the laws of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally and individually responsible. If you are unsure of the factual nature of any claim, comment, allegation you are about to make, the Harrison County Board of Education strongly encourages you to consult first with your legal counsel. You have 5 minutes.
Dr. Manchin and members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Jared McCrae, and I'm here to speak about my interest and experience in seeking the vocational agriculture position at Bridgeport High School. Throughout my life, I've had a love and passion for agriculture. From the time I was 5 years old, where I first spent time working on my aunt and uncle's farm in Ohio, I have learned and practiced my craft. When I was old enough to join 4-H, I showed cattle at the county and state levels. In 2005, I graduated from Bridgeport High School, and soon after that, I started farming on my own. I've worked with youth in Harrison County through the WVU Extension 4-H program as a training volunteer. Giving youth the opportunity to show animals and learn the skills that I have is very important to me. I've also helped FFA students earn their supervised agricultural experience. I've served on multiple community agriculture boards and committees to ensure farming and agricultural sciences remain relevant and viable to citizens in Harrison County. Agriculture, farming, and teaching youth have always played a huge part in my life. In early August, I was asked by a local business owner if I would be interested in helping teach agriculture at Bridgeport High. After talking with the county and the principal, I learned that I wasn't able to because the service personnel cannot do a professional's job due to state policy. I was then approached by the principal from BHS asking if I would consider teaching this position full-time. This would require me to resign as a bus driver and become a teacher. After praying and talking with my wife, we decided it would be a good fit and was worth pursuing. I placed my bid with the Board of Education on August 15th and received a call on August 22nd that I was the only applicant and had been awarded the position. As a follow-up, I went to the county office to take an aptitude test given by Marshall University. After a few weeks of not hearing anything, I called personnel and asked if they had gotten the results back. And they said they had and were waiting for me to turn in the required paperwork. I asked what I needed to turn in, and I was told, I have no idea. Whatever you think you can to prove the 4 years or 8,000 hours. I turned in several letters of recommendation from different businesses, lending companies, government organizations, and agriculture affiliates, along with 4 years of tax returns. Everything seemed to be going just fine. I paid for my certification application on September 12th and went for a background check and fingerprinting on September 17th. On October 10th, I received an email from the state that my application had been denied due to a lack of experience. After having been asked, approved, and provided no guidance, I was then denied. When I asked questions, I was given contradicting excuses from the state level. First it was, I'm not well-rounded enough. I'm too livestock-oriented. I would argue that running a successful farm takes a wide range of skills and abilities. Then they came back with they were worried about me county hopping. I've been born and raised in Bridgeport. My wife is from Bridgeport. I'm raising my family here, and my wife and I both own our own businesses here. Whether someone might leave is a weak excuse not to hire someone. They even said I had only been doing this for 4 years because that's all the tax returns I had turned into them. I certainly could have provided much more than 4 years' worth, as I'm obviously invested in Harrison County and the Bridgeport community. 5 months later, I was told that I had bid on the job the second round, and that they could not hire me because they could not hire somebody with industry-related individuals until the third round. I believe if this is true, then how did I win the bid on the second round? I should have been denied then, and the VOAG job should have been posted the next cycle, not 5 months later. I spoke with a friend that is attending WVU for agriculture education, and he said that Morgantown had this planned from the time they heard that I bid on their job. But no matter what the state had to say, all the assistance I received from the county level was super helpful. I felt supported as if they were doing their very best to try and fill the position with me. I am thankful that I was considered and am appreciative of the local support I was given. In conclusion, I urge you to reconsider my situation for this position. My local connections and expertise make this a good fit for a vocational agricultural position at Bridgeport, because I would be bringing over 14 years of real-world experience to the classroom. I believe in teaching students through hands-on experimental learning. I'm a trained youth volunteer and have been given countless hours of volunteer work through the 4-H program. I know I can connect and make an impact on young adults in the classroom, and I would also ask that you reconsider myself, as I would also be a long-term solution for a revolving door of new teachers jumping from school to school, county to county, trying to get closer to their hometown. I feel like I would have the ability to grow a somewhat new program in the Bridgeport area, and while expand an agriculture knowledge in the students. After reconsidering my experience in seeking this position and my relative experience in teaching youth agriculture, I respectfully ask that you vote no to fill the vocational agriculture positions on tonight's agenda with student teachers.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I would just like to say, I mean, I'm really appreciative that he spoke, and I really believe that he's the type of individual that we need to be hiring to fill positions like that. Hello?
Hell, over here. We got you. We got you. Okay, so at this point in time, there is a recognition I would like to make. Danielle Fenstermacher, would you like to come and make a presentation?
First of all, thank you for giving myself and I have the staff of West Milford. I have my PTA here as well as West Milford Mayor and members of the City Council from West Milford. We just thank you for giving us a chance. We're here today because we're requesting help. We would like to build a new playground at West Milford Elementary. And I put together a little handout so you can see some of the reasons why we need a new playground. One of it is pretty much because it's 30 years old. We have many nails that are sticking out. I know that teachers sometimes take hammers out with them to pound the nails down so that the kids aren't catching their clothes on them. It has become a safety hazard. Many parts of the playground are irreplaceable. We've been told that if parts are broken, that it's so old that they don't have the parts to replace. So that becomes, we've had slides that haven't been replaced. Also, we have one slide that is cracked at the bottom, so it is not able to be used by the students. We no longer have monkey bars. And we used to have tire swings that the kids loved to play on, and right now it's just freestanding lumber at this point. So those have broken and they're unable to be replaced at this time as well. Most of our equipment is old, it's rusted, and it's bent. And the edging where the students play around the playground is unsafe. It is a tripping hazard. And right now it's not fenced in. And our playground currently is backed up into our parking lot, and the town sometimes uses our parking lot as a shortcut. So there are times that cars do go through there quite swiftly, and it is a safety hazard. And we also worry just about the fact that people can come in and they will park close to that playground, sometimes not even being parents, and we just don't know anymore. So I would like to have the playground fenced in, just for a safety precaution. What we have done as a school, we started talking in August, and I met with my wonderful PTA who was here, and we said that we were going to make this our first priority, that we wanted to begin raising money because we wanted to show that as a school, we wanted to show that it was important before we would ever come and ask for help. So the PTA, as well as my staff, we've all worked together. In just 3 short months, we've raised $11,000. And I honestly have to say I am blessed to have the staff and blessed to have the PTA because they have put in a lot of hours. And raising $11,000 I feel is great. And I know that we can do more, and we're going to continue to do more. The PTA also went to a city council meeting, which our mayor is here, and he is on board with helping us with whatever we would need, getting the community involved, because that playground is serviced by a lot of our community. The only other playground is down at the community center, and it's not sufficient enough to for the kids to play on. And so we also have worked on working with outside contacts to see if they would also help fund. We have looked at grants, and I've also talked to the 4-H center as well, because with Lost Creek, with the potential of them shutting down, we will lose that site for Energy Express. And they have already talked to me about moving it to West Milford, and I'm definitely all for it. I think that would be a huge loss for our community and for our students at West Milford as well as Lost Creek. So I would like to move it to West Milford, and at this time, our playground would not be sufficient for the wear and tear of all year long, all school year, as well as the summer. And we would also like to add some things where we would have some shelter in case of a storm or anything like that would occur, and possibly like a water fountain or something that the students wouldn't have to leave the playground, walk across the parking lot, then enter our school. So we did add an idea of a playground that we like at this time. It's not set in stone. It's just to give you an idea of what we are looking at. And then we also have a quote of the price for our playground. So at this time, we are just asking for any help or support from the board in achieving this goal. We realize that it's not a 1-year fix and maybe not even a 2-year fix, but we're ready to get on board and we're ready to get the ball rolling so we can get this set up for our students as soon as possible.
So how much, so you're asking us to match the funds that you put in, or are you asking us for a specific amount of funds?
I'm not asking for a specific amount. At this point, I believe that we will accept any help that we can get. I don't have a specified amount.
Okay.
It's really just to put the idea out there, and we know that we still have work as a school that we're willing to put in to raise more money, whether it's starting with putting a fence around it this year and then working towards the playground, or getting the playground and then working towards the fence. You know, we're going to continue to do our work, and we'll continue to ask outside resources to help us as well.
Okay.
Now that we're in winter, I mean, there's no way to start a project like that. And so I think, you know, as you're working with the community, you're working with PTA, you're working with, I guess, individual people. I think as time goes along, what you've raised so far, if you come back, you know, at a later date and see where you stand financially, and then with a quote of how much you would, you know, like from the board, then we can make a better call on it.
Okay.
And
I just know that right now with the playground, right now, this is like the cheapest time to purchase a playground because it is winter. And like if you would look on the estimate, it gives us like a 25% discount, whereas at other times during the year, you're not going to get that discount because it's a higher demand. So this is why we were coming to you
are they
at
going to
this time.
install it?
Yes, installation is free. Well, I'm sorry, no, it's not. Shipping is free, but installation is included with that estimate. They have broken it down. Shipping is free. I apologize, I
That's
misspoke.
okay. No, okay.
And I guess to follow along, just to give you a parameter, under our contingency funds, our parameters on those are that we match 50% up to $20,000. So, I mean, that's what we've been doing as long as it's 20,000. So basically, if you had 20,000 raised, we would match that. So,
Okay,
I mean,
sure.
that's what our cap has been, just to give you a feel for what, if, you know, to say if we raised up to this amount, then you could ask for the 50% match.
Sure, and I
what
think
we
that's,
generally do.
I think that's what we were looking for. We wanted to see what we needed to do as a staff and as a PTA.
Yeah, so
in
that
order
kind
for
of gives
to
you something
receive
to
some
work.
help. Sure.
That would get you to 40,000, you know, and then there's be some additional,
Okay.
but we've always matched 50%. I mean,
Yeah, we've
up to
historically been
20,000. We're
able-
putting
yeah.
20,000 in as long as you have 20,000.
Okay.
I also have a few questions. Did you shop around for prices?
Well, we have we have three different estimates, and this is the one that we went with.
My only question was, is like the actual installation is almost half of what the playground
Mm-hmm.
cost. And I was wondering if the shopping around, if that's typical where I see a lot
think
of
what we
equipment
have,
there for the
what,
kids, when I see like $15,000-$16,000 and we have a full staff.
Yeah, and the problem you have with playground equipment, we've run into this before, is that they have to install it or it voids the warranty.
Yeah.
And you have to, because of the liability, and not only the warranty, but the liability, there's a huge liability with any playground equipment, but that comes with them installing it. So and it is a tough sell because it's a lot of money. We obviously could use our staff, could do that, or we could have someone local to do that, but then it completely voids your warranty on that, and they don't like to allow that because of the liability involved in the type of equipment it is. We've run into that before.
And then like I was looking at this, and it does not include taking down the old, and does this price include some type of ground surface? Or is
No,
it
because
just the playground?
that's another thing that we also have taken in account. We know that we're gonna have to have funds in order to, right now we have pea gravel, and we don't like the pea gravel. We would like to switch that out to something that is like the rubberized mulch. So, and we know that is that's a big cost as well. So, we have taken that all into consideration. We know that the fence is gonna be a lot of money as well. So,
In addition to that, regardless of the playground, I was reading their reasons, and they're actually very concerning. Have those been reported to our maintenance staff? I mean, nails sticking up and slides that are cracked and edging that's unsafe
we put it on our safety report. And maintenance has been great with coming out and doing what they can to repair it and to make it safe. The nails, that just comes with just the kids before it using. It's just where it's old. And the slide being cracked, we just don't use it anymore. And at that point, it just can't be replaced. So therefore, the students know that they're not allowed to go down that slide. Maintenance has been wonderful.
I was looking at those and I was like, geez, I'm picturing the kids on the playground, to be honest, with big nails sticking out and stuff, I mean, off from the actual playground that you're discussing, the current condition was concerning.
Maintenance has came out. The staff has been very diligent about
Okay.
if a student would happen to, I think their shirts are getting ripped, so we put in a work order, and maintenance has came out, and they have taken care of it.
Okay, good,
So
good.
So I think coming back to that, if you're able to go back to the community and say, look, all we have to do is get this 11 up to 20, and then the county will match it. That may make it a little easier.
Sure.
To try to raise those funds when you say, look, another 9,000 and we can turn that into 20.
And in reference to what they're saying, our contingency fund is a once-a-year request. And that's why they're saying to come back. Like, you can't do like 11 and we match that, and then you come back with the other 9. You want to have it all in one.
Yeah, if you ask for
Right.
11 now, we would vote 11, but I'd rather you go raise some and then
Yes.
come back and ask for 20.
Sure, I
We'll match
understand.
20.
And that's the reason why they're
I
all
understand.
suggesting you do that.
But it should be a little easier knowing we raised this amount and we're going
Right.
to double it.
Right, and that's why we wanted to come, just so we have a good number, and a number that we know that we have to
And I think
achieve.
we're all receptive to it.
Yeah, historically,
Okay.
we've done a few playgrounds, different schools, and we've been more than willing to help out with it. So I think that if you can get to where you need to be, we can match that.
And there are some things that you should discuss with Jimmy and Dr. Manchin, like the fencing and stuff, that, I mean, if it's right in a parking lot, I'm sure that's, things we should be able to take care of so kids don't run into parking lots and stuff. I mean, their safety is our priority.
Mr. Smith, if you know anybody in the oil and gas business, you might approach them about
Yeah,
seeing
that
if
has
their
brought up
company, a lot of the companies like that will
Did you
You know.
get any, did
help you.
you get a windfall or anything?
Did I get a what?
Did you get any other money from anybody?
Yes.
Well, why don't you tell us what you got?
We did get a check from Dominion for $75,000.
For what?
For
the
our playground.
And you want another, this in addition?
Yes, because just considering everything that is going to come along with the playground, with the fence and the edging and possibly the removal, and we would like to do like an outside learning environment. There's a lot of things that we would like to do. So,
Bring it all in one basket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as far as
Everything, you know,
what we would like,
the whole thing.
everything,
We
yeah.
would like
you know,
to have-
The whole
what money you
plan.
got from Dominion, all that, and then
The
what you
And then
raised,
everything you want on your
and
wish
we
list.
can, you know,
so if
match
we,
it, and
so
that'll-
we had 75, which was a huge surprise, from Dominion. That was a wonderful gift. We're very
Right.
grateful.
Oh,
It was,
yeah.
it was unexpected, even before I had asked to speak. That was given after the fact. So we have 75 from them, and we have 11,000 that we raised as a school. So that's, you know,
It bring it, because, I mean, from our standpoint, it's not that, oh, we've got that, so why are you coming? It's still improving our property.
Right.
And our building, so, you know, that, I think it's great that they have that, but come with your whole overall plan, and you know.
yes.
Plus the community, you know, the community's going to have access to it. you know,
Exactly,
and-
and that's a huge thing, is being able to service the community as well.
Be great, yep. Thank you.
It's good to me.
Yeah, so I would do what we talked about, and then maybe set up a time with Dr. Manchin to meet and
I've been out
discuss.
there.
Yeah.
I'm sensing, Danielle, the board wants to do this for you, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
I'd suggest that, and as they've established, is that the contingency fund has very clear rules and regulations, up to $20,000 in half. To be frank with you, you've already met the half. Or the 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With the
so-
75, so.
But we'd like to see what the plans are, or
Well-
maybe.
Yeah,
Sure.
the board would like to see
This,
that.
I mean, this is just the playground. We have a lot of other ideas. It's just, we haven't had the time to sit down, and I don't want to make the decision myself. It's not just my playground, it's the staff, and I also want to include the city as
I think
well.
it's smart
So
to- Yeah.
I would rather us come together. These were just ideas.
do
It
the,
it happened really quickly, so.
Do the palm trees come with it, or do you have to grow the palm trees there?
I think we have a problem keeping those palm trees throughout the winter.
Just wondering.
Don't have
Plastic-
to worry.
I'm not sure.
I've been to
I'll
West
let you
Milford.
know.
That's what the palm trees could grow out.
Plastic palm trees, yeah.
Okay, so you want us to come up with our
The
finalized
whole big
project?
plan,
Finalized
yeah,
project,
what-
yeah.
what all
Okay,
you want
down
and what it
to
costs.
installation, down to the edging, down to,
Rubber mulch.
What's-
Danielle, I'll come out relatively soon. I got a pretty good idea what the board wants. I'll come out
Okay.
and we'll go over, Jimmy probably and I come out and we'll go over everything, and then if we can, get it all put together, what your plans are. Obviously, did you submit something to Dominion to get this, did you submit something to Dominion?
no, I haven't submitted.
Or you just
any-
told them?
Well, what do you mean as far as submitting, like
Well,
our
they
idea of
want
what
you
we
to
want?
check 75. Why did they do that?
We want to do the same thing.
I don't know, the grace of God, maybe? I have no clue. I mean, they came out and they saw our playground and.
I got it, okay.
And we were just lucky. We were
Well,
blessed.
yeah,
That's-
you all do a great job.
Let's invite them to
The
WI.
city of West Milford does a great job, and that's why they did it, I'm sure. So I'll come out, we'll sit down,
Okay.
and then we'll put you on the January 21st agenda to finalize everything. And my guess, and it's the board's decision, but I'm sensing they want to help you out.
Okay,
Why don't we give a little more time than?
Well, we
than-
can.
I mean, because
Yeah.
with the weather, the way it is right now, and then
Well,
it
I think
gives
the
them.
the only question, Doug, was
They get
that
the
if you do it now, or at least purchase it now, the delivery might be at a later
25%,
date,
yeah.
right?
right.
You
Yeah,
purchase, you
some
get
money
20,
for that.
you get the
Save money
25%
by
down.
25%.
Yeah, you get the
So-
25%.
so-
When's the
Take
25%
care of
run out?
That I don't know, but
Find out
I
when's
can
the
check.
final date, and then we'll maybe take them right up to it to give, your group a little more time to figure out what else they may
Sure.
want to do.
You know, and I would suggest talking to Northview. They came up with so many really neat interactive items they added to their playground, from like sand that, move different things, but just really neat STEM type of play equipment instead of just that along the walls and water features. And it was a real learning environment what they presented to us. And they had some really great ideas what they did and wanted to do.
That's a good idea.
Collecting
I'll-
rain from rain barrels and adding it to the science class. It was really interesting, and I think it was a wonderful thing for all the kids to actually learn from the playground as well and be involved with it. But, and I'm sure on the internet, there's lots of ideas like that. But I was really impressed with that.
Thank you.
I know when I was a PRO, and I talked to different oil and gas companies, they were asking asking how come the schools don't approach them for different funds for things, because they have different projects they want to do. Also, the Carpenter Union does community outreach programs, and then you've got stores like Home Depot and Lowe's that do stuff in the community as well. So just like you've got the $75,000, I think if you would approach some of those other organizations, businesses, I think you'd get a lot more money quicker, and we'd be able to do something really grand for you.
Okay, that's a good idea. We have talked about maybe approaching Antero. We have a lot of parents that their students attend our school.
That's excellent.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Good job. I'll be out there.
Thanks.
We'll get it all.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. This brings us down to superintendent's update. Dr. Manchin?
Mr. President, we have a number of things that I want to present to you tonight under the superintendent's update. One, and first and foremost right now, under curriculum technology, I'm going to recognize Elena Jenkins, who is our new communication, and Mr. Todd Poole. I think, Kristen, one of the questions you had, Michael, is where we are, and I'm going to have Elena get everybody, well, the entire board up to speed as some of the things she's been doing, and she's doing an outstanding job, and we're excited about her getting on board.
Thank you.
She's telling the great things that are happening here in this county.
Okay. All right. So Elena is passing up just some samples of some of the things and stories she's written, and we've got quite a few things that we've been discussing and ideas, and she's only been here a short time, but is really knocking it out of the park and is really a story writing machine. So we've got a lot of things that we're doing, and we've had 2 holidays in that time too somehow. So
Is she under your tutelage?
yes.
Oh, that's, well, then that makes
So that's the problem. Some of the things that we're discussing about things down the road is that we'd like to maybe do a magazine at least once a year, and to send those out to the community, and about things that are going on in Harrison County. More into the print media, so we'd have print media and online media as well, so we duplicate it in the online space. Because there's certainly still a great place for print media, and it's good to put your hands on things. So, along with that, also a quarterly newsletter, that possibly for our employees, but maybe also something that we could release to the public. With conversations this morning with Dr. Manchin, we're also going to be working with the newspaper, possibly, and have some discussions about doing some different articles that could be released in conjunction with the Clarksburg Exponent Telegram. So we kind of have some discussion about that today. The one area that we're also going to be looking at is a little budget for this program, because with marketing, unfortunately, there's a cost to that. So with the print media, we have a need for swag, giveaway kind of things, whatever that looks like, pens, and just different things that we can hand out. So that's going to cost a little money. We've also got some ideas to work with these electronic billboards. I've noticed in some of the other counties, the school system will have a physical billboard, but then we've got so many of these billboards in the area that are electronic that we have some ideas about highlighting teachers and students and other faculty members at different times of the year on those boards. So we've got pretty good relationships with those folks with Lamar and Western Outdoors. So we'd be talking to them about what that might look like price-wise, to work something like that in. At this point, I'm going to give it over to Elena and have her talk a little bit about some of the things and more elaborate on our ideas.
Lower this down a little bit. Well, thank you all for having me. I started December 2nd and kind of started fast and furiously. The thing that I love to do the most is tell stories, and so with 24 schools, there's plenty of stories to tell. So that's the easiest thing to do and requires no money. I did get a new camera that I'm grateful to have, and I can go around to all the schools, and I'm still working on building those relationships. Principals meetings helped in December, but to connect the teachers to this new idea does take a little bit of time, but I mean, I already have great feedback. Being in the schools over at even Johnson Elementary this week, the teacher said, I always tried to take pictures, but when I would email them, it'd be too big. You know, and you send a picture, it says, cannot send because it's too big. So therefore, we don't have those pictures. So I said, you know, just give me a little notice. I can be there. I can get around pretty quickly. So that's already helping. This is just an idea of some of my actually personal favorite connection to these stories. We've done, you know, an average of 3 a day since December. So there's a lot of turnover. We still get a few from teachers quite often, so that helps. And then I think another thing that has really helped in this position is that things are more real time. For example, the story, it was on the front page of the paper on Saturday about our coat donation from UHC. After that happened at 2 o'clock on Friday, it was on our website by 2:30. And I think in the past, like, that has maybe taken a little bit longer time. And when things aren't done in real time, they're kind of irrelevant at some point. So I'm really happy with that. Like Todd said, one of the things that we started working on when I first started was a budget, mainly because marketing does cost money. And for example, this week we had 7 teachers get nationally board certified, and to promote them, we can promote them, you know, freely on our social and web content, but next year to have a billboard campaign, you know, highlighting them, how they did it, what they're teaching. I mean, that just would be great. So coming up with the budget was something that was really important to us as far as marketing. And then to me, the greatest asset of Harrison County Schools is we have people coming into North Central West Virginia all of the time. And what's the first thing they do is they look for a house. So we want to put together a brochure for realtors. That way when they're showing houses and they know that there's going to be kids or grandkids involved, they say, this is the school you're closest to. Here's who to contact to go take a tour if you want. So I think there needs to be more of a link between the new people we have coming in and how we're promoting the schools as one of the greatest assets to living here. So, let's see, the budget. Visitors bureaus. That same brochure could be used all around town. And I said to Dr. Manchin earlier, the more we use our businesses and the groups in the community to promote us, the less we have to promote ourselves. So that's another goal, is just to get everybody talking the good word of the schools. So.
We have the technology, we have the tools, we have the equipment. Now it's just kind of time to bring it all together.
Well, and I'm glad you brought this, because I was the one that requested this. I see this almost every day, and like, to me, I had no idea who was doing it. The Facebook thing, it always comes up. And I've noticed that a lot, and all these articles, like, I had no idea that was coming, like, specifically from you, and they're great. My whole thing is, how do we get people to like and follow the Harrison County School District?
We already
that
have,
type of stuff.
well, we already have built that so far in the last month. It's already above 8,000.
Good.
So that was something that was shocking to me. I came from WBOI, and, you know, we celebrated when we got 100,000 likes to our page. And so to me, I'm like, okay, how do we get that many to this page? But at the same time, there's 11,000 students in the school. So, I mean, you know, maybe 20,000 would be a great goal for next year. We kind of have to look at our audience, and then our audience will expand over time. But I would like to see that number double. But I think how you get that number to double is posting more frequently, posting things that people like the story about the coats was up before any newspaper or news outlet could get it up. So therefore, people probably liked ours and shared ours more.
And also, like, ads, like you can buy the ads on Facebook to tell people to
Right.
like your page, and the billboards like this, you know, so to get them in, so all the information starts funneling into one place.
Like we have Family Day coming up in August, and a little piece of swag that says, like us on Facebook, or, you know,
Yeah.
or a campaign to say, you know, if we can get to 15,000 likes, the 15,000 like give a prize away for 15,000 likes or
Exactly,
something.
things
So,
like that.
right.
My next thing is that I don't know if this is a conflict with, are you still working with WBOI?
Oh, no. This is my-
Okay. I also follow Doddridge County and their
Right.
superintendent. And every day he has like one-on-one interviews, like with a student or a teacher or a coach. And
Right.
Mostly like the little kids, and they are absolutely adorable. And I end up watching those because I can watch it instead of reading it. So, and with your experience, I would think that's something to look at also as like actual interviews with the students.
Yes.
It gives, and you know, because then parents go crazy and share it, and they really are good.
Yeah.
Story time, like, you know,
I have
telling
seen
a
that.
story.
Something like that just takes a little bit of time. I mean, that's kind of like, I have watched their page, and I love what they do in that county as well. And I think that's kind of what they do. That's kind of like the videos are their only thing I'm seeing, at least. So I think we just kind of have to find a way to incorporate that.
Absolutely.
Into what we're
But I
already
really do enjoy those.
Yeah, they are
Just
good.
thought I'd say that too.
Yeah.
I do enjoy their videos.
And then, like with Dr. Mention today, we're already talking, I would really like to brand, like, kids getting more involved with him as a What's Up doc. And like him going out to schools or having lunch at specific times and doing videos with him having.
Absolutely, that's
Right.
what I'm talking about,
So
things like that.
we talked about that in December, so I would love
That's
to,
great.
What's Up doc makes me laugh every time I say it, so. Yes.
Like when you, maybe the next time, you know, down a few weeks, months, whatever, down the road, you come back, give us a little more update as to what's going on. I think it'd be nice, because I'm not a Facebook person or anything like that, and I think this is very, very nice, is if you would maybe make some extra copies and pass them out to the
Okay.
crowd, and they take it back, and then, you know, the word of mouth, you know, they go back and say, boy, look what's going on, you know, maybe in our community or what's going on in our county. And then more people would maybe go onto the Facebook and whatever and take a look at it. Because we get to see it, but they don't see it unless
Right.
they go on Facebook. You know.
Just leave it at every meeting,
And what's that?
or just leave copies during the meeting.
Yeah, or leave copies at the door where they can, you know, if they want to pick one up or something like
That's
that.
great.
One thing with all of our school digital entrance signs now, there could be something like on that, help your school win, like this page, like for parents going in, things like that. We can use our own digital media as well to bring more
Right.
followers, and just not Facebook, but Twitter or Instagram or whatever. But they could use their own billboards, and yes, in the budget, put a prize.
Right.
I see what you mean about that. What if we do that? We did it with the, our new,
Cash online.
cash online system.
We give away
We're
3D
still-
printers.
Yeah, we're still having a little competition in February, so I'm hoping to.
And it works, doesn't it, when you have a competition?
Yeah.
If you all, we only have one copy of this, but this is an example of what the teachers get to kind of.
To help
still
us to
encourage them.
kind of, you know, get their classroom on our radar a little bit, and,
That's it.
yeah, so that we're gonna launch that to
What
where,
is the scan mean?
that's where they can take their phone and automatically go to a page that has a fill-in-the-blank kind of thing. So that's a QR code,
It kind of goes to a form.
yeah.
There's
Online
some
forms,
that
yeah,
they
they
can
can fill out.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they use it
Uh-huh.
that way.
It just saves having to memorize a URL and everything. They can just take their phone or their iPad
And
and
we're
just
still
scan
running
it.
into the problem of,
And he
like you
told
said,
me
you
that
don't know that I was
back
one
then,
posting some
I'd
of
made a
this.
call to him.
It's
He had some
still kind of unknown as that this position's here, and we're still running into the problem of somebody getting told after the fact, oh, this happened at the school and it was great. We're like, okay, after the fact, I can't really make up for it.
Well, I will tell you right now, I noticed all the postings. I actually look at these every day when I wake up. And I'm just saying, from my perspective, I didn't know, I noticed that I was getting them a lot more frequently.
It's still a goal to communicate with all of the schools more about, you know, if you just give me a little bit of notice, I can be there, you know, after the fact, we can't really do as much, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully word of mouth.
And we're also trying to build our Instagram presence and Twitter as well. So in conjunction with raising the bar on Facebook, we're trying to build those other areas too, because we got all the kids in those particular social media sites, and we use Hootsuite now. We've purchased a subscription to that, which helps us to manage those across the board. So one advantage of that is if she happens to notice maybe a question about bus schedules or transportation, that's not something that really she can answer. She can actually flip that over to Jimmy or somebody in the transportation office, and they can actually answer that without having a middleman in the middle of that, which is really nice, and they can answer straight to the whatever social media platform it came from. So a lot of advantages, a lot of tools, and again, we've got the equipment, it's all here, and we've got the person, and now we're just shaping it all together.
Well, I think that's wonderful,
Yep.
and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I'd like
I was
to,
gonna say, I think you hit the ground running,
Yep.
and you've done an excellent job, and what you presented is fantastic. It's what
We're
I
really
say, what we
excited.
asked for, but I just, not so much quantity, but the quality that, rather have that than too much.
Right.
And plus, I don't want to see you get burnt out with, trying to do, too much. I'd rather have just good
And
quantity.
like some of our projects will take more time,
Right.
The brochure for the realtors or the visitors bureaus, that might be a month long,
Yeah.
So I kind of hit the ground running with things that came easily to me,
Mm.
but, there will be a lot of projects that take a lot more time with this
I
process.
would like to see you come in once or twice a quarter and kind of brief us and show us some of the things that you're working on or some of the things that you're
Well,
doing.
we even talked about maybe an email with the board on every Friday, a week in review. And I would just drop a few links, hey, this is what we did this week, here's some great highlights.
Yeah.
Great, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to see that Dr. Manchin, you finally made a great choice when one of your selections and all for our.
I'm just worried they're going to give Dr. Manchin a Twitter account.
Yeah, we had a really good interview staff. We had a really good interview staff for this.
He knows all the tweets.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Well, you can definitely monitor what you're doing with followers on the social media, there's no question there.
All right, Doc, what do we have next?
Mr. President, I'd like to recognize Mr. Jimmy Lopez to give an update on the Comprehensive Educational Facilities Plan that we've been working on. We had a meeting last night, I had the opportunity to attend, and we're still relatively early in the whole process, but I'd like Jimmy to give you an update on where we are with the CEFP. And before he does, I would mention to you that we are in the process, and Jimmy can give you further updates on the Lost Creek project and our status on the Lost Creek. I will be visiting, I and our staff will be visiting Adamston Elementary School and Wilsonburg Elementary School this Friday and next Wednesday. I think next Wednesday is Adamston, this Friday is Wilsonburg, for the purposes of starting the whole process, discussing the new, the Gore, and again, let me reiterate that when we refer to the Gore project, it does not mean that the school will be called Gore. It does mean just for the purpose of discussing the project. So we will be visiting, the schools and going through the whole process. If any of you get any questions or anything like that, I'm trying to allay everybody's concerns and fears. Almost have to start all over again on the Gore project, on the Lost Creek project. We're moving along, and hopefully we'll see by the late spring that we could be moving some dirt out there. That's what we're looking at. Now we've got to finalize a budget. I don't have to tell you the first budget we got is just a little bit out of line by about $3 million. So we're going to fix it. So that's kind of where we are right now. Jimmy, if you want to give an update on the CFP, and if you want to add anything about the discussions about Lost Creek and the Gore project.
Okay, sure, Dr. Manchin. We're entering phase 2 of the CEFP and the process through the School Building Authority. McKinley was up here last evening, and we did have a meeting. And basically, the first phase was collecting a lot of the information, building assessments, and now they're starting to share that information with us. The condition of the buildings, we're preparing at that point to take a look at all that information through their Student Solutions. They have an algorithm that they're also going to be able to give us an idea of some of the things that we need to do to get our facilities upgraded so they meet our 21st century learning standards. Really, at this point, the final phase, after we go through this, the final phase will be the approval phase. In this second phase, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at all the information. Then the committee will take a look at prioritizing projects. And I think that that's probably what everybody's posturing on, getting ready to get all the information together and then come to you with some priorities and then a final copy. The board will basically approve between the dates of July 1st and July the 30th. And then from that point, when you guys are happy with the CEFP, then it will move on to the state level for approval. So, but that's kind of where we are at this point.
And you keep on looking at me for a reason.
Well, I think it's because I get a better view, and you're a little better looking.
Well, one of the reasons
Frankie, right?
is I wanted to say how much I appreciate the whole process that you have gone through. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people in Harrison County understand that we have this plan for 10 years that by state code we have to follow. And as many times as we say it at our meetings, there's probably the majority that still don't understand. You just don't build a school. There's closings, hearings you have to go through. You have to get approved by the state, and you have to follow their guidelines. And people don't really understand that. We are just coming at the end of our 10-year and beginning a new one, and that's why we're having these meetings. And then long after probably all of us are here, they will still be following this plan that he was just speaking of. With that being said, one of my concerns, of course, has been WI. And although we have to follow that plan, I still want to state for the record that a new WI is absolutely my #1 priority. And with that being said, I think other people have discussed this as well. I just heard Michael. Go ahead, Michael.
So I just think that I'm in a full agreement. I really think I agree with you 100%. I think WI should be next.
Well, the only thing I'll say is since we've trusted the CEFP committee to do that, we let them follow through. However, you'd kind of have to be blind to look around and think that something other than WI doesn't show up as #1. I mean,
absolutely.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, and that's part and parcel because this board over the last several years has taken care of a lot of other issues that would have been up there competing with it for the next to be replaced. And I think we've taken those off the table that allows us to clear the deck and then focus on WI. And I agree with you. I mean, it's my hope that, we can get everything off the table now and then start looking at the new WI. But I know we say we want to let CEFP do their thing, which we do because it wouldn't make sense for us to put together a committee. Yeah, exactly. And we have to. But I can't see where any, when you're looking at all of our buildings in total, that they're going to come back with, it'd be, unless there's something out there that we don't know about.
Now,
if something else comes to the top of the list that's not WI, then we've got bigger issues.
Well, and with that being said, I think the reason why I'm saying this and why I wanted to say it out loud is because there's a lot of people talking. And with that being said, people have to understand that complaining and saying, oh, well, Bridgeport got a field house and we don't have a WI is absolutely like talking about, what
apples and oranges.
Apples and oranges. That's not even anything similar, and people get riled up. I want to say that the reason why I brought it up is because there's a lot to do with preparing the paperwork and everything from the CFP being completed to where's it going to go. And it takes positive community support, not people on social media who have never been here, cutting everyone down and the process down. And I want that known, and I'd like something printed that be a part of the process instead of the negative and the complainer, because that is our priority. Nobody's like shifting it to the back and like we don't care about it. Like Gary said, anybody that can see knows that we have.
We were able to take
it has to be taken care of.
For smaller pots of money, take care of a couple of things that would be up there competing with WI, which clears the deck, that we can go after the larger pot of money and do WI and do it right.
But it takes the community to say, where are we going to put it? What do we want? And stuff like that. And I encourage the community to become a part of this process, and like the other school communities have, and not complain, but actually come here, talk, because we want to hear and we want to do this right. And that's why I wanted to say something, because it's something we have to start thinking of now. When do you put in a proposal for something like that? And of course, there's a whole bunch of different steps, but I think it's important to know that I can only speak for myself, but that's my priority, and I think, you can take whoever else is what they said, but I can't speak for them.
Thank you, Ms. Messenger, for your opinion. Dr. Manchin?
Oh,
What do we have
go
there?
ahead, I just wanted at the end of your report,
Okay. Mr. President, we have a couple of things, probably February, March, probably the busiest by far time for the Board of Education, the superintendent and central office staff as budgeting time comes, and of course personnel. I'm going to recognize Doris Seller, our Director of Personnel, give you a quick update of what she's planning over the next couple of weeks. And Dora, if you kind of, there's certain rules and regulations we must comply with the West Virginia Code as it relates to the closing of the two schools. If you could mention what our plans are for that too.
Okay, I'll start with that since you finished with the CFP. There are faculty ballots that need to be done for all the schools in the, I'm talking every school will have to take a vote on whether they will give priority to the staff at Adams and Wilson to stay in that school. So we're going to do that vote soon. In fact, we're printing the ballots now and getting those ready, and it's kind of working it in with the visits I'll be making for staffing, so I could talk to the principals there. But we're going to get that vote done, so that's not looming out there, and the faculties in those two buildings know, yes, I'm going to get to stay there, and it might ease their minds as far as the vote. So we're going to get that done early. And leading into personnel season, there's a lot of planning that happens before you ever start really making visits. So in your packet, there's just a brief kind of listing of the dates that's happening. Right now, we're in the midst of receiving retirement letters. That went out probably early December with a notice that if they want early retirement, please get those notices in to us in writing so we can get that on that February 18th agenda to get those voted on by March 1st. We've gotten a few retirements. I think there's four so far. They'll start ticking up, I think. We're currently looking at enrollment data and all the information, positions in the building, and next week I will be out every day speaking with the principals. I'm visiting each school, sitting down with them, trying to allow about an hour. We're going to talk about, well, not only the vote for the consolidation, but we'll also talk about their staffing, and then start making decisions about staffing around the 1st of February. And same with central office departments will be getting their information to us. We'll put together a plan for staffing, and then I'll meet with Dr. Manchin and the heads of the departments here, and we'll put together that staffing plan. And if you look, we're hoping if there's transfers, they'll be delivered there March 17th, around that first couple weeks of March. Get those delivered, and then always in April, our favorite month, we'll have hearings if we.
And we don't anticipate, again, as Harrison County's been very fortunate, Dora, that there have been no rifts,
No
reduction in
rifts,
force.
right.
And we don't anticipate that happening this year either.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. We've really made a commitment to our teachers and our service personnel and our staff over the years not to cut jobs and not to rift positions. So I would like us to follow along those same lines again and do whatever we can to use retirements, to go through retirements and attrition and whatever we can to maintain the staffing that we currently have. I'm not in favor of rifts.
No, and further, just to keep in mind with that budget season, we kind of made a commitment here a couple of years ago, and I think last year was our first one, to try to add some additional as we go along to maintenance, because there's no reason, you're going to build new buildings and then not have the maintenance folks to take care of them. So I think we've added some this year. I think we need to continue to go in that direction until we get up, because I don't know that when you have 24 buildings that a staff of 24 is fully staffed in maintenance.
That's a good point.
So just make sure that we keep an eye out to do that. And further, if I can bring up this time, which is kind of off that, but when we're talking maintenance, Well, Jimmy, if I can try to help facilitate a meeting, and I've talked to the other side, I think from our standpoint, if you can get together along with Joe with the maintenance department of the Harris County Commission, which, you know, is my employer, you come up with a list of your equipment, they come up with a list, and that way they're renting things and you're renting things. If we have a pool that you can go to if you need a bucket truck or, a plow or something that they have to save us from renting it, and they do, maybe if we share a list of the equipment and then borrow from each other when we need it for short term, like 2 days, why go rent it or why go buy a piece of equipment if we're, both are county entities, they're county-owned property, if we can just maintain a couple of lists that when you need something, go to them, they've got it, you can borrow it, and vice versa.
That's interesting, I never thought of that. Who does plow? I know we have like contracts for the grass and stuff, I mean, who does our lawn?
We do all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, our
Well, let's say-
maintenance
let's-
does all the
I don't know
plumbing.
why I never really thought of that.
Yeah, but there are things where, both entities have to go rent for a couple of days.
I think we're all.
Yeah.
You run into a project, have to go rent a piece of
I'm
equipment.
not going.
Well, the county commission may have a piece of that same equipment sitting there.
Yeah.
So as long as they both
I'm not
know
gonna pay it.
who has the equipment, then give a call and maybe they can borrow it for 2 days until ours is fixed or we acquire one. So
It's an excellent idea.
I've talked to them and they're
And
would
just-
really like to be involved
like I
with that
say-
too, so.
And I think, Mr. President, members of the board,
Yeah, I
that,
know. I have
that
to.
over the next 60 days, we'll be having special sessions, work sessions for the budgeting. There's certain, Sharon, we have a number of timelines we have to, she and I will be starting the budgeting process, but the board ultimately is responsible for the budget, and so I would suggest over these next couple of weeks, start thinking of some projects perhaps you feel strongly about, and so as we start putting the budget together, and then we'll have work sessions where you'll be able to look at the budget. We'll also have work sessions as it relates to personnel. This is, as I said earlier, this is an incredibly busy time of year for us.
And if I could ask at the same time and ask of the president, my request, if we can schedule sometime in the coming weeks, a work session, special work session on nothing but transfers and attendance. We have a map coming, I know, of our attendance area. We need to sit down with that. I think we need to address that now. I don't want to run into the same problem come summer. We need to take a stand on the attendance area. You look, there's a document that was presented to us to where we see that we have certain schools that are at 40% utilization rate, and then we have other areas where they're 100 and, or close to 100%. And we need to fix that, and we need to do it one way or another. And your attendance area is your attendance area. We need to come up with a plan on when that starts, from this date forward, whatever, but we need to change the attendance area, because I think we have people in areas that should be going to schools that are now going to other schools, and it's filling those schools up, and it's causing a lot of issues,
Well, Gary, that's why I also went to bring up WI, because I think the condition and the whole thing about WI had nothing to do with the staff. In fact, they're
Right.
absolutely incredible. But I think that is a huge reason, because of the neighborhood and the condition of the school, that we're running into a lot of this. And I think people knowing
It is.
that our schools are equal across the board is very, very important. And that was another reason why I brought that up, because I know that's coming up.
But
And the new
but
WI is
I think
important
we
to
need to
that.
sit down as a board, go over that map and say, here's the attendance area, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair that folks move into an area of the county and they buy a house and they're looking at the school and they can't go to it. And that can't keep happening. So we need to address that, but I think we need to
Is that
rather.
happening?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I think that.
Where did that happen?
I mean, it's happened. I think we've had to address it every year.
We've addressed it, but there are issues sometimes.
There are issues,
Yeah.
but I just think we need to sit down to where it's not just something that's brought into a board meeting, and Doug's talked about it for years. Transfer is important enough in this county right now that it's causing enough problems that we need to just address that on one work session and
How
sit down and
soon-
see how far, what we want to do and what we, how we want to accomplish it, because it's a big issue and it's going to continue to be a big issue. We need to hit it head on now, especially coming into personnel. See, those are sort of things that we may make decisions that affect the personnel season. So we need to do it sooner rather than later.
How soon can your staff be prepared to have a work session with us?
Oh, I'd have to sit down. How about I apprise you? I'm assuming, Mr. President, members of the board, that we're talking the next couple of weeks. Is that what you're talking about?
I would say.
Preferably.
Why don't you give me tomorrow, let me sit down with staff and go over that, and then I'll apprise you, and if everybody's okay, I'll have Angela touch base with everybody. We'll try to get you within.
There's going to be tough decisions, but we need to make those and be done with them because
I wanna
it's
make
an
sure,
every year
uh,
thing, and it's putting it on different people. There needs to be some sort of direction to where each board member is not getting attacked for something that, the staff, the principals and all that, and they're putting pressure everywhere. We just need a policy.
Okay. Give me, let me sit down with staff tomorrow and.
Mr. Hudson,
Is he finished? No.
No, go
Are you at
ahead.
the end of your,
Well, there's only one more left, and that's Kristen.
okay, when you come to the end, when
After, when Kristen's done, just United, Kristen.
Well, there wasn't much to say.
There wasn't, was
Other
it?
than Doddridge County is moving forward with they hired their HVAC instructor and their diesel mechanic instructor, and they were all in county, and they were happy about it. They were starting to build their building, but really, other than that, there wasn't too much to say. They're still waiting for their big, digital sign out front to promote the United Center. I still think it's important that we continue that, and like I said before, I'm not really sure whose responsibility is, but I would like to see that place look a little better, because it doesn't, and like all the dead trees need to be taken out. It just looks really bad. I just get sort of really rattled every time I go to one of those meetings that I continue to see the same things that just need fixed, and they're simple. Off of that subject, and there's so many acronyms that go around. When we had our work session at the beginning of the school year, I just wanted to bring it up with the personnel season. Almost every school asked for the same thing, an LE, a teacher assistant or something in their school. Yes, yes, an AST. We have so many initials around here. I just think when we have something like that, and almost every single principal came and said how important that was to their students, I think that's something when we go into personnel season that we really have to look at. Because, I think every single school said the exact same thing. So I just wanted to add that to the personnel, and really with UTC, there wasn't that much.
Okay, that's all I have.
okay,
Mr.
one
Kitsap.
thing, just to follow up on what she said about, and dead trees and all that, or in that area, and the building get cleaned up and everything. I think that should be something that should be looked at between, springtime and before school starts, maybe taking that project on and getting those kind of things taken care of. I don't think it's something that can happen in a week or two or whatever. I think it's a process that could be worked in with the summer program and everything.
Well, one of the things that I might, Doug, is that once construction starts, there will be some site
Right.
work at the Gore project,
Right.
which is right near there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will have heavy equipment out there. So perhaps we may be able to address some of those issues.
And-
We have that equipment out there.
And the building itself, that's something that needs to be taken care of by the director and what have you.
Doc, I bring it up because I know it's very easy to pass the buck. And if I bring it up there, I hear, well, it's owned by Harrison County. And then if I bring it up here, it's UTC. And I'm just one of those people that I really don't care. When you have a dead tree hanging there, I don't care who does it, get it out of there. We still do own the property. And I just don't like to see, everyone passing a buck on something so simple, and that's the only reason why I brought it up. And there will be a lot of work. And I brought it up for a while too, matter of fact, about the condition out there. And if we need to sit down with Matt, we need to do that.
I'd have our maintenance to do it and then send a bill to Doddridge and Taylor County for their share.
If that's what we need to do, let's do that. And you're right, Gary. That's what we'll do.
We own the building, but we're graciously giving it to a
Yeah.
3-county tech center. Why should we be on the hook for the entire amount? The
Well,
tech center should be doing
Oh,
it.
that's fine, but let's do
Yeah.
something, is all I'm saying.
Well, what would you do as
And like
what would
Doug
you
said,
do
if
as a
it's in the
landlord
spring-
if that was happening and you had an agreement that your person renting it was supposed to do something? You go in to do it and then you charge them
Yes,
for
I
it.
do.
So we
So-
ought to do the same thing.
Let's do that.
Okay, one other thing that I was a little confused when it came is the West Virginia School Board Association, the meeting in Charleston. Okay, we as board members have to have X number of hours to complete. I know I've already completed my hours due to the fact that I'll be running for the board education, come in the primary. And so I signed this piece of paper and all, but I just told Angela that I wasn't going to be attending this meeting. Simple fact is, it costs us money to go there, and I've already gotten my hours completed, and usually the meetings run, the same way. So I think we as board members need to take a look and do we have our hours? If we do, is it any more of a benefit to go down to the meeting where, again, it's mandatory that we go to at least one of them, and the other, to me, as far as I'm concerned, is optional. And so like I say, I already have my hours. So I just think that we need to let, Angela know yes or no if we're going. I signed the paper and then
and I agree with you on that, but the only difference with this is we had to have ours in the fall.
Before the new year.
Before the new year.
Yeah.
I prefer to go to this one because it's during the legislative session, and I want to know the bills that affect us. So had I been given the choice, I would go to the one in February, but we weren't. We had to go to the fall one. But I'm more concerned about the one that involves the legislature. It's during the session to know what bills, because they give an update on that.
Well,
That's my only.
I just think, for her benefit, because she has to take care of who's going, registering, and, motels and all that. So I just want to, I just want
No, I got all my hours.
School Board Association.
I got all my hours.
So I just.
I don't have my hours yet.
You don't, okay.
Well, what, did they start over?
No, but
No, not
we
till
had to get
July.
ours by
Not till
December.
July.
They're
Our
running
term
this
is
year,
so.
so they have to have
Yeah,
their
we-
hours done before the
So
school
when
year
does
starts.
filing for Board of Education for the election, when is that? date?
February,
15th.
I mean,
January 15th.
January
13th.
13th.
January 13th until when?
Until the end of January, January 30th.
I mean,
Is that how
2
long
weeks.
it
it's
is?
close. I'm not,
January 29th,
2 weeks.
January 30th, yeah.
Did you both file?
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to.
You're both going to? Well, that's good to hear.
So, yeah.
we can make that announcement right here tonight.
Hey,
There you
well,
go.
I'm not going to. I think
well.
Mr. Hammer's not going to make that announcement?
Huh?
You're not going to confirm that for the board minutes?
I just think it's, I won't, it's a election issue, and I won't do it during.
Understood.
board meeting.
Well,
All
I
right.
asked the question.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so moving on. If there is no other superintendent update items, then we can move to the approval of consent items. Is there a motion to approve the consent items as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Hamrick has made a motion to approve the consent items. Mr. Doherty has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New business. Out-of-state travel study requests. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state travel study requests?
So moved.
Mr. Hoag has made the motion to approve the out-of-state travel study requests. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hamrick has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Contract for functional behavioral assistant. This is contract with the behavioral analyst for the purpose of conducting functional behavioral assessment for an individual student as required by a recent special education due process hearing decision. Is there a motion to approve this contract with Dr. Claire St. Peter for conducting the functional behavioral assessment as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved.
Mr. Hamrick has made the motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it with question.
Mr. Hoag has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Is this through your department, Mr. Fisher? Okay. Could I get a little background on it? Because I looked at the cost per hour or whatever, and how many people are being served and what's,
Yeah, this is just for an assessment for a specific student. So the rate, because it's just an assessment, is much higher than the rate that you approved, in the contract that you approved before the holidays for the gentleman who's doing ongoing services. So that's the difference.
You just paid him one time, so he's.
so in other words, if they assess somebody, it's a one-time payment
Yeah.
for that certain
It's
student?
It's a one-time
Okay,
assessment.
but then if they do another student, then it's the same situation we
It would
pay?
be, yeah, if we would happen to want to use that person, it would be the same.
This is one specific
rate,
assessment.
but
we're
This is
approving.
one specific assessment.
Okay.
We do not anticipate using this individual. I'll tell you, she's probably the best in the field. She's a WU professor. But we don't anticipate using her again. We have another guy under contract that we'll be using on an ongoing basis
Okay.
at a much lower rate.
Okay, that was my question.
That's why
Thank
the
you.
difference there, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, if you look at it's the next, our personnel, there are several.
Well, we've had
We
to.
had to-
I know, but what is that compared to what's on our personnel? He's a psychologist.
Just a contract for one
Contract.
specific
One
assessment.
specific
Okay.
assessment.
And
for
then-
It's
one
not
student.
anything ongoing, just one specific.
We're not hiring this person.
He's just doing an assessment.
Okay,
Yeah.
just one,
Yeah.
okay, so it's just one assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, this brings us down to old business, Bridgeport High School funding request. Is there a motion to approve the funding request for Bridgeport High School press box and weight room renovations for the amount of $150,000 as presented by the superintendent?
So moved.
Mr. Hoag has made the motion to approve the funding request. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hamrick has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Just that, I think Bridgeport has met their part of the, of the deal. And matter of fact, more, because it costs more than what was projected, So I think that, they've met their burden of
Commitment.
and everything.
And I guess I'd just like to say, because when reading the article in the paper, it was going off of our figures and it wasn't 100% accurate, that it was saying the total cost, and it looked like we were funding that. We are funding, our portion of this funding is the same exact portion that we gave to Lincoln High School for their
Their field house as well.
field house. So we're giving Bridgeport High School the exact same amount of money that we gave, that we're giving, Lincoln and Bridgeport are receiving the same amount, just so that's clarified that we're not funding the entire project.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I wish someone from Bridgeport was here to, otherwise they got the money, just thought I'd say that. It's a quite a bit amount of money, it would've been nice. Had to make that comment.
All right, there's no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This brings us down to personnel matters, as there are no policy updates. Is there a motion, Mr. Hamrick?
Mr. President, I move pursuant to Chapter 69A-4, subsection 2 of the West Virginia Code, the board go into executive session to discuss personnel matters which, if discussed in public, might affect adversely the reputation of any person.
A motion has been made to go into executive session for personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Everybody seconds. All
Okay.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will be in executive session. All right, Mike, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, is there a motion to return from executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been moved to return to executive session and has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are now back in regular session. Okay, this brings us down to personnel items. We have a personnel agenda adjustment to note. We would like, request to pull Louis Andrick and replace with Danny Leary.
And Mr. President, I would move, ask that we pull two positions, Emily Parent and Shannon Allen, teacher in residence from South Harrison Middle and South Harrison High School, and the other one was from Bridgeport High School, vocational agriculture teacher. Pull those out and vote separately.
Okay. So let's take the two that you had spoken about first. Let's bring those in. Who are they again?
Who were they?
Emily Parent
Okay.
and Shannon Allen.
All right. Is there a motion to accept Emily
Parent,
and
Shannon Allen.
Shannon Allen
Oh, Shannon.
in the positions that has been recommended by the superintendent?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Messenger has made the motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hoag has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, my reasoning for pulling these out, and please believe that it has nothing to do with two individuals, because I don't even know the two individuals, but it's on the issue that was discussed earlier with the VOAG teacher, Mr. McCray, and there may be another issue, and it has to do with alternate certification. And, it's my feeling that, from our standpoint, no one in our office dropped any ball. We tried to help rectify this, but I have an opinion that if the state is going to do alternate certification, then it needs to be meted out in a more fair fashion, and I'm not sure that that's the case. And that's why I want to pull that and vote on it separately, because, I do believe if we're doing alternate certification, then the gentleman has the qualifications for this job. If we're not going to do alternate certification, then we need to do away with it. So that's just my feeling.
But I also want to add that, it's not on us, Harrison County, that we've done our due diligence.
Correct.
It's on the state, and, the state's the one that, has to do the certification, and I think that this is an issue that will probably come up again. So, unfortunately, I think that it's a problem that the state has to solve.
And I would also like to add that in the process of this battle, they still need an instructor. So I will be voting yes. Is that what you're asking for now?
No,
Well,
call for a
he's
vote.
had to call for the
This is
question.
discussion.
We
this is discussion.
understand there's a battle, but there still has to be a teacher in that position.
And those jobs will be reposted
Yeah.
during the personnel season. So if certification can be
So if
gained.
certification is obtained in that particular point in time, then there is an opportunity to reapply.
Okay, so call for the vote.
All right. Mr. Hoag has called for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
Motion carries 3-2. This brings us to our next item, the personnel agenda. With the agenda adjustment, is there a motion to accept the personnel agenda as recommended by the superintendent, with Louis Andrick being replaced by Danny Leary?
So moved.
Mr. Hamrick has made the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hoag has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda. This brings us down to our final matter of adjourning the meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Hoag has made the motion to adjourn. Ms. Messenger has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Children of peace, go in peace.